there!
Hi!
Whitney, is that you? By the way, what's up with the winter clothes?
Yeah, it's winter here.
Winter, I was just going swimming.
What? Swimming? It's the middle of winter, for Pete's sake. I was going skiing.
Skiing. It's June 20.
Yeah, winter begin, duh.
No. That does not make sense.
Yes, it does. June, winter, January, summer.
When do you have Christmas?
On December 25, like you do.
Okay, that is weird. I wonder how that happened.
I wonder if it has anything to do with the seasons?
Probably.
I have an idea. Let's ask the boys.
Okay, then let's.
Okay, bye.
See ya.
I think when the Earth is closer to the Sun, it's summer. And when the Earth is farther away from the Sun, it's winter.
Actually, when the Earth is closer to the Sun, it's winter. And when the Earth is further away from the Sun, it's summer. And that's why we have seasons.
So Jerome made a diagram and sent it to us. This is what it says. The sun's distance from Earth doesn't really have an effect on the seasons. In fact, the Earth is closer to the sun in winter than it is in the summer. In this video, Jerome will explain why we have seasons and why they change. Note, figures are not to scale and this diagram only explains winter and summer. Let's look at the diagram that he made. And as you can see, the Earth is tilted at a constant 23.5-degree angle. To start things off, the Earth is tilted at an angle and the equator divides the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. There is also a line called the Tropic of Capricorn, which divides the southern hemisphere in half. There is also a line called the Tropic of Cancer, which divides the northern hemisphere in half. On June 21, the sun shines directly at the Tropic of Cancer at a 90-degree angle, and this is when summer begins in the northern hemisphere and winter begins in the southern hemisphere. Because the sun's rays are less concentrated and the Tropic of Capricorn receives less sunlight, and after this date, the sun starts moving back to the equator. On December 22, the sun shines on the Tropic of Capricorn at a 90-degree angle, and this is when summer begins in the southern hemisphere and winter begins in the northern hemisphere, because the sun's rays are less concentrated at the Tropic of Cancer and it receives less sunlight, and then the sun starts moving back to the equator.
Twice a year, the sun shines directly on the equator, on the equinoxes, which are on March 21 and September 22. On March 21, spring begins in the northern hemisphere, and autumn begins in the southern hemisphere. On September 22, autumn begins in the northern hemisphere, and spring begins in the southern hemisphere.
The difference between a lunar eclipse and a solar eclipse. A lunar eclipse is when the moon enters Earth's shadow or the Earth comes directly between the sun and the moon. But why does it turn red? The reason it turns red is because when the moon is in Earth's shadow, it causes the red or warm colors to scatter and bend around the Earth and shine on the moon, causing the moon to reflect red. A solar eclipse is when the moon passes between the sun and the Earth and the moon blocks the light of the sun from reaching Earth. During a solar eclipse, just some places have shadow, but the other part of the world sees sunlight. 2 to 5 solar eclipses occur per year. The reasons that we don't see the eclipses is because they occur in different parts of the world.
As the Earth revolves around the Sun, it rotates on its axis 365 times a year. The rotation of the Earth causes day and night. The side that faces toward the Sun experiences day, and the side that's facing away from the Sun experiences night.
Wow.